Let's listen to this.
Abu Ubaidah, a very prolific and well-to-do Hamas
You've really got to get better with your Hamas propaganda. You're a racist,
small man.
genocidal,
mind your language,
war criminal.
Small man.
You support
mind
war
your
criminals.
Little
well, you're trying to put a target on me? Are you and Elon Levy trying to put a target on me? Are you trying to put a target on me? You keep saying I'm Hamas, and you support killing Hamas.
You've done it
so
with Elon, and it won't work with me. Little Mehdi. Little Mehdi, you've done that shtick with Elon, it doesn't impress me. But I'm telling you is that if you improve your Arabic just a bit,
you keep saying I'm Hamas based on nothing.
If you improve your Arabic just a bit, I think you are well on track to become a very prolific spokesperson for
your
Hamas.
Troops engaged in sexual violence against Palestinian women.
Abu Ubaidah.
You're being investigated in the International Criminal Court.
Touting Hamas's propaganda lies.
That is committing genocide, Jonathan.
Mehdi, you are touting Hamas's propaganda lies. You are regurgitating things from April and from September.
The genocidal Israeli military.
Let me jump in. Jonathan, let me jump in, please.
Israeli military.
All right.
And now you want to kill every journalist that speaks out against you.
Yeah,
Jonathan. You killed 5 journalists last week.
Jonathan,
on
that,
but I think you would do an excellent job at replacing Abu Ubaidah.
Your military killed 5 journalists.
Let me ask a question,
please. And you're doing a great job. And you're doing a great job as Julius Streicher.
Right, let me ask a question because nobody can hear either of you. Nobody can hear either of you.
That's how history will remember you.
Let me ask you, Jonathan. Jonathan, about the incident. Jonathan, let me speak. About the incident that Mehdi's alluding to.
He doesn't want to talk about the hospital.
I'm just about to ask him about the hospital. If you let me do my job. Let me please ask you a question and do my job. So, Jonathan, the incident that Mehdi's alluding to, the double tap attack on a hospital which killed 5 journalists. This takes the total of journalists to over 200. There are now journalists all over the world who are protesting about this. People from CNN, from Reuters, from AP, from every serious news organization in the world, saying that there is a mini genocide going on with actual journalists in Gaza, and that the only reason for this, the deliberate systematic attacks on journalists, is because Israel does not want people reporting on what is actually happening there. I know you agree with me, because you said it many times, that Israel should allow the international media in to do their jobs. But so far, they're not doing that. They're only allowing in certain friendly journalists embedded with the IDF to report what they want them to report. But until there is free, unfettered access of journalists into that region to report on this stuff, there is a belief that Israel is going about now deliberately or systematically killing Palestinian journalists to silence them. What is your response to that?
Yeah, that belief is wrong, and I have a few things to say. First, about the horrible, tragic mistake at Nasser Hospital. That is not what I envision in terms of Israeli operations. That is a tactical mistake by forces on the ground that saw a camera on top of a building, assessed that the camera was operated by Hamas, because Hamas has been operating cameras from all civilian buildings, including from hospitals, in order to monitor the troop movement of Israeli troops and then to detonate IEDs or otherwise to direct combat activity against Israeli troops. And that is why when Israeli troops saw that camera and other activity on top of that building, they engaged. Regretfully, 5 journalists, some of them working for international media outlets, were killed. That is not a desired outcome. That is a mistake, and that should not happen on the battlefield, full stop. 6 terrorists were also killed in that attack. When I spoke with 6 Hamas known operatives were killed. When I spoke with people in the IDF, my questions were actually about the second strike, which we saw live on an Arabic network, which I agree looks horrible, should not happen, and is something that I'm waiting for the IDF to investigate and to present findings and to say this is why the mistake happened and these are the steps that we have taken in order to rectify it. And I believe that the IDF will do that. And I believe that this is not what the IDF was seeking to achieve, because it was very clearly aid workers and others that were trying to rescue people that were wounded from the first engagement. So this was not intentional. This was a battlefield mistake in a chaotic or very difficult combat environment of troops that are under fire from civilian buildings where the enemy uses hospitals and schools and mosques and houses in order to fire from. This is the reality in Gaza made by Hamas, which we many times gloss over. No, as I said, they were from that. But first of all, Hamas has fired from the Nasser hospital several times in the past, and Hamas has been using cameras from various buildings, mosques, schools, and hospitals in Khan Yunis, in Gaza, in Rafah, in all of the Palestinian villages and cities, and that is why the IDF thought that the cameras that they saw were linked to Hamas. But I'm saying it very clearly, that was not the intended outcome.
Mehdi?
Can I respond, Piers? Yeah. So on this hospital attack, let's just be very clear here, because so much gaslighting going on here. First of all, I'm old enough to remember October 2023 when the world went mad to suggest that Israel would ever attack a hospital. We were told for months Israel would never attack a hospital. Now they proudly attack a hospital and try and justify it with nonsense justifications. We attacked it because there was a Hamas camera on the roof. First of all, it wasn't a Hamas camera. It was a Reuters camera. Reuters already gave the Israeli military their positions. There were no Hamas cameras on the roof. It's a ridiculous new phase of Israeli propaganda to say it was a Hamas camera justifies killing 20 people, which was insane. Okay, let me speak. If you stop interrupting, then I'll deal with that lie. You already said it. You said there was
Let Mehdi respond.
No, you're lying.
Hamas terrorists.
Let Mehdi respond.
I never get through a single answer on this show.
Let Mehdi respond.
6 Hamas operatives were not killed. You claim they were killed. No evidence has been provided to the international media that there were 6 Hamas operatives there. In fact, the 6 photos that were released, 2 of them were killed the day before. One of them was a well-known local firefighter who Israel already dealt with. They were not 6 Hamas operatives who were killed in that strike. As for it being a mistake, how can it be a mistake, Piers, when it was a double? Can you shut up so I can finish a sentence?
It doesn't make it true.
Piers, am I going to get to speak on this show?
Jonathan, he let you speak. Let him speak.
I mean, if you're going to lie and you're going to expect me to
you both accuse each other of lying all the time. So let Mehdi respond, then you can respond back.
And the world can see that Jonathan, we're on Piers Morgan. I get to speak. We're not in Gaza. You don't get to kill me as a journalist. I get to speak here and point out that the journalists were killed in a double-tap strike. There's no way you can call that a mistake.
You do in life
he can't shut up, can he, Piers?
The only thing you do in life is lie and take money from the
I'm going to keep speaking and make my point. Like I said. All right, let me know, Piers, when I can speak.
Jonathan, please let him respond.
Because he won't shut up. I need to be able to make a point.
No one can understand you when you talk over each other.
6 Hamas operatives were not killed.
Mehdi, finish your point.
6 Hamas operatives were not killed. 6 Hamas, I barely started it. 6 Hamas operatives were not killed. Israel claims they were killed. It's been debunked. 20 people were killed, including 5 journalists. It couldn't have been a tragic mistake, as Jonathan claims, because it was a double-tap strike. The Israeli media have reported that the Israeli military did it deliberately. In Israel, in Hebrew, they're not saying it was accident. They said it was a coordinated attack. A double-tap strike. How do you explain a second strike 9 minutes later? There is no mistake. It's what Boko Haram, ISIS, Al-Qaeda do. It's deliberately to kill emergency responders. 972, an Israeli media organization, says it is now standard procedure for the Israeli military to do double-tap strikes. Last summer in Mawasi, the New York Times has video of the Israelis doing a double-tap strike on Palestinian paramedics. You know what Israel said at the time, Piers? We will investigate this incident. Guess what? A year later, no investigation. No one was charged. No one was punished. They always say this to gullible interviewers in the West. Well, we're investigating this mistake. Not a single Israeli soldier has gone to prison for killing anyone in Gaza since October 2023. You'll remember, Piers, I said that to Alan Dershowitz on your show. I remain to be fact-checked. It is true. Nobody went to prison for killing 15 paramedics in April. Nobody went to prison for the Mawasi double attack last summer. No one will go to prison for killing 20 people in this hospital. Jonathan and his military love to do war crimes, and no one holds them to account.
Jonathan?
Nonsense. Israeli officers have been removed from their positions.
Jonathan, who's gone to prison? Who's gone to prison?
Israeli
you said nonsense, Jonathan. Who's gone to prison? I was right.
I said nonsense, wrong. Which is everything that comes from your mouth is either Hamas propaganda or
Mehdi, let him answer.
And yes,
name the person who's gone to prison.
And
he's not answering. Name the person who's gone to prison. You and Alan Dershowitz cannot name
a single
what he's saying. Israeli soldier who has gone to prison.
Mehdi,
let me hear him what he has to say.
IDF soldiers have been disciplined and sent to military prison for misconduct, and there are still open investigations.
Not a single Israeli soldier has gone to prison for killing a Palestinian since October 2023.
By the military advocate general About
None.
Yes, they have. I don't remember the name, but I know
You're lying.
Of several
Anyone can
Israeli
Google
soldiers.
it right now.
No,
Jonathan Conricus is lying to you.
You can Google.
In April, 15 Palestinians
you can
were
say
killed.
whatever you want. You can continue
no one went to prison.
To make
It's a
up
fact.
half
Google
truths
it. Sky News has the story.
And
Sky
sprinkle
News has the
lies
story.
as much
We're
as
on
you
YouTube,
want.
Jonathan.
I know
People
for
can
a fact.
Google that you're lying
I know
right
for a
now.
fact that Israeli soldiers
Sky
have
News
been
investigation.
disciplined.
April
Even
2025.
sent,
15 paramedics killed.
Mehdi,
Not a
for
single
someone who
soldier was
complains
charged.
about being interrupted,
Mehdi, you
sure
don't
are
like it when he
interrupting a lot.
interrupts you, Mehdi. Let him speak.
I am interrupting, Jonathan.
Yeah,
I
but
am
let him
interrupting
speak. You don't like it when he does it.
You
So I'm
sure
going to fact
interrupt a
check
lot.
your lies. That's how it works, Jonathan. That's how it
Mehdi,
works,
you're
Jonathan.
not in a
You don't get
position
run
to
your
fact
mouth here
check
and kill
anything.
journalists here.
You're a mouth for hire. You're a paid propagandist. Who are you to fact check anything?
The viewers are fact checking.
You are a mouth for hire with no moral tethering in the world. You're a mouthpiece for Hamas and for Qatari money. Who are you to fact check anybody?
April 2025.
Mehdi, you are a paid mouth.
April 2025.
You're a
Sky News
paid
did the
mouth in a
investigation.
suit. Who are you to fact check anybody?
April
Who are you to
2025,
fact
Jonathan.
check? You have no legal standing. You have no moral standing. You have no factual standing, Mehdi.
April 2025.
The last time you visited anywhere near a war zone was maybe 20 years ago.
You realise nobody can understand the word you guys are saying, right? I mean, you do realise that.
Who are you to fact check,
They can
Mehdi?
see.
Do you realise when you both talk at the same
more.
time, nobody can hear either of you? You realise that, right? I mean, we all
Piers,
understand.
You should have got him to stop.
Everybody
interrupting for the
understands that
entire
when you
show
both
then,
talk at once, no.
Mehdi Hasan understand how to deal with pro-Israel. And you know what funny thing is, when I deal with these people, when they don't have a point, what do they do is they exhaust you with nonsense, fallacies, until it becomes a useless discussion. In what is happening here in this discussion on Piers Morgan, we can tell that one thing, Jonathan is not interested in facts. He is not interested to challenge the facts that are being spewed here. But what he is doing is personal attacks. And you question yourself, if you have valid points, if you have truth in yourself, why would you engage in personal attacks? This only happens when you are ignorant and when you don't have points. And I don't believe he is ignorant. I believe he is very informed. The only thing he is doing is he is here to discredit Mehdi Hasan. And that's the reason why he starts calling him and saying that he is receiving money from Qatar and all those nonsense. But he cannot defend the double tap attack on a hospital within a time limit of 9 minutes from one attack to another. This is not accidental. More so, he challenged him. Jonathan, can you tell us why your local newspapers report it was intentional, but to come to tell us it was not intentional? We had 15 aid workers killed and ambulances buried. No one went to jail for this. What are you telling us? There's one thing that is happening here is that I don't feel like there's a way to defend whatever is happening right now. I don't know how they can do this unless they conduct so many false flags. But I feel like the war is over. And you can tell here that Piers Morgan and also Mehdi Hasan destroyed Jonathan, the former IDF spokesman, very well, that to an extent he lacked point and he could not defend what he believes in. And this is the problem we're having. At any time you engage with Israel, just expect that they will exhaust you. They may not share solid points because they don't have solid point. They keep playing personal attacks. That not make sense. And it's not a part of our national discussion. However, there's one thing I've read about Mehdi Hasan. He allowed himself to be triggered by Jonathan, and the discussion ended up becoming a shouting competition where everyone would shout and no one would listen to each other. And this is where the discussion lost the momentum. And this made sure that it's no way that you can put or press Jonathan to defend some of his lies. Because when you're shouting, there's no logical discussion. There's no room for arguments. It becomes a shouting competition. And that's where I feel like he could have maintained himself and ensure that he makes sure that this guy could not defend the lies. And this is the challenge that we are having when it comes to this kind of discussion. If you're not keen, they'll resort to personal attacks, make you angry, exhaust you, and you lose your concentration. And that's how it goes. And you can tell these people have mastered the talking point and the nonsense in a way to make sure that the discussion doesn't happen. Like today, we wrote about October 7, but we know this conflict did not start on October 7. It started way earlier. And the problem is when you ask questions, they will deflect. They will say it's Hamas. It's all this nonsense. Instead of having factual discussion, because you cannot keep blaming one person and one person all the time, you need to ask yourself, you did this. You burned my house. You can't say, no, I burnt your house because of so and so. Doesn't make sense. And I feel like, well, I agree that Mehdi Hasan destroyed Jonathan very well. And I love that Piers Morgan denied or rejected the offer to visit by Jonathan. Because he said, if people are going to Gaza as journalists, they don't need to embed themselves with the IDF. Let them do it independently as they have done in other wars. And this was a perfect way to destroy and finalize this debate. I wanted you to go to the comment section. Tell me, do you feel Mehdi Hasan destroyed this former IDF spokesman, Jonathan? Let me know what you think about this. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's meet in the next video.